He will not be on. I tell you what, since we've got everybody here, we might as well.
And it's
Yep.
2:59.
I did see
Okay, since we've got everybody here, it's a minute or two early, but we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to call this special meeting. We have some things to discuss in executive session, but we also had a couple of ARC requests that were carried over from the last meeting. I got more information. And also there was one other new request. So we'll address those three and then we'll close the meeting to outside guests and go into executive session to discuss the topics we need to.
First thing is to, of course, certify.
Okay,
Let me just certify that the board members were given notice of this meeting in a timely fashion and that there is a quorum present in that there are two of us here in the room, three people on a interactive video connection, and one board member on participating by phone.
okay. The first architecture review request is for unit 598. And what the owner wants to do is that unit is a studio unit, 491 square feet. There never has been any air conditioning in there. Joe and I got a key and looked underneath, and there is no ductwork or venting underneath. And they're in the process of remodeling the inside. And what they requested is to put a PTAC unit on the side of the building underneath that window. That location is a highly visible area, as you don't really see it there from my picture, but the cart path comes approximately 6 feet away from the corner of the building. So anybody that drives by in a golf cart will see that. So my thoughts are that we should ask every other unit in that building has a forced air unit condenser underneath the back. And I feel like we should ask the owner to be consistent with the rest of the building. And if they wish to put air conditioning in, put a forced air unit that would be underneath, consistent with the rest of the building and the rest of the property. To my knowledge, there are no air conditioning units of any type on the side of any building on property. So I guess at this point, I'll open it up for discussion amongst the board. If anybody disagrees, or
So you're suggesting that
we not allow,
we decline or
decline the request,
request and
and
recommend that they
recommend they put a forced air unit consistent with the rest of the building and the rest of the property.
okay.
This is Jerry. I think, don't the lodge units have PTAC units rather than central air for all of those units in the lodge?
Yes. And the owners have one in their A&S up above that.
In the S.
Yeah.
Inside,
In the S unit inside,
inside the walls.
but
Well,
No, goes outside. Oh, okay.
you have,
Penetrates outside
There's
just
a-
like these.
Okay.
yeah,
there's
Yeah.
a grill, there's a
Got
grill.
it, got
It
it.
doesn't stick out,
Got
it's just a grill that goes up flush with the wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is we should maintain the consistency throughout the rest of the clustered units.
Hey, Rick, how big of an expense would it be to do it the other way instead of allowing them to do it this way?
I've heard it seems like between maybe 2,000 and 3,000 for a PTAC.
1,500, well, probably 2,500 with the framing and siding and finish and all that,
Okay.
2,500.
And
Has anybody gotten a quote from like Brian Purcell or somebody about putting in a forced air system?
I haven't.
It's not a big unit.
I would guess, I would guess it'd be double that.
Oh, yeah, it's a couple of $1,000 a ton. You're
Yeah.
gonna put in a 2.5, 3
Well, they
ton
got, the
unit.
ductwork's not there.
Yeah, there's no.
We
ductwork.
went and looked and it's not, when, back sometime in the past, and I don't remember when it was, it probably predates me. All of the owners at High Point were offered to put in air conditioning. I don't think it was put in originally. And this is one unit whose owner at the time declined to spend the money. And so if you look at the unit next to it, you can
Yeah.
see the forced air unit hanging from the
Mhm.
subfloor and all the ductwork running, yet this one has zero, nothing.
Yeah. And then on the other side of that, we saw a forced air unit in the same type of unit.
Yeah.
In an IB unit.
And I'm a previous owner of an IB unit and I've been under mine and I know what it looks like down there and it's, yeah. So, I mean, you're basically putting in a system that's where none exists now. It's not like hanging an air conditioner on a forced air heat unit. It's already there. All the ductwork's got to go in, all the equipment. It's got to be at least $6,000 in my mind. Yeah.
So. If there's,
At least make, an attempt to get an idea of what that cost is. I mean, I certainly understand keeping it uniform and yeah, it probably looks nicer without the grill there, but man, if folks have to spend that much money, that's kind of a bummer. And Rick, I don't want to make it any more complicated than it might already be. But by the same token, that if it ups their expense, I don't know, it's just a thought.
yeah, I just I like keeping the consistency of the property. I mean, because if we allow this one here, then we would need to allow other owners to stick units on the end of their buildings throughout the property.
Hey, and Rick, have you talked to these folks about this?
So
Yes,
Okay.
here's a point of, I mean, right next to me in Pinecone, it's Pinecone, it's not High Point.
Mhm.
But right next to me in Pinecone, unit 848, something like that. The S unit above, the PTAC unit is on the side of the building, just like that,
The noise.
okay.
And that was original construction.
original construction. And I can hear it when I go outside and it's running, I can hear it. Is it an annoyance to me? No. I mean, but I know it's there.
It's gonna be 847.
Is it, it's the
The
S
S
unit
unit,
above
848 is
Bonnie
the A
Dudley,
unit down below.
above Bonnie Dudley.
Above Bonnie Dudley.
Yeah.
That's 839.
Yeah.
839.
Yeah, you're thinking, I wrong,
Okay.
sorry. I went 10
Right.
steps ahead instead of 2 steps back. Yeah, it's, 840. So it's got to be 839, 840 is those two units. And I don't know which. one's
840
which.
is Bonnie Dudley.
Bonnie's is 840, so it's 839 above. Yeah, and it's an S unit
Really, I didn't know that.
and it's on the side of the building.
So,
Great.
um,
And
Joe,
if-
do you know if that PTAC unit on 839, when that was put in, was it after the fact?
No,
After the original build?
I believe it's got to be original construction because all it PTAC units.
think Boyd's unit is actually the same thing. You walk through that.
Is Boyd on the
courtyard,
phone?
Hey, Boyd?
Yeah.
Is yours the same way as the P-TAC unit on the side?
My P-TAC unit,
This is
you
on the
walk in
north
my
one.
door, it's on the far side on the south, yes.
P-TAC is on the north side.
Yes.
Okay.
Your P-TAC is on the north side, Boyd.
Got his north-south mixed up.
That's why your knee is screwed up.
My P-TAC's on the south,
Oh. Oh, okay,
facing town.
facing town, he says.
And that's south.
It can't be.
Isn't that where the roof would be?
It can't be, because that's where 864 is. Is that right?
Correct. You're correct.
You're being.
Well, you gotta get home.
Okay.
You have to get home. to straighten this
The
out.
point is,
Yeah.
there's not a precedent in High
For
Point
that, in high
The
school.
front door is on the
because
far
there's,
wall,
well,
going
because,
south, right?
well, there are S units, but the S units in High Point, the P-TACs are in the
In
front.
the front, yeah.
They face the
They're all in
parking
front.
lot.
They're all. in-
However, all S units in Pine Cone and Gamble Oak, I'm assuming, would come out the side of the S unit.
Mine's the same 808 when I had it. It's exactly the same as 865. You walk through, it's on the far side of the south end.
Okay. Well, immaterial whether it's north or south. It's
Yeah.
on the side of the
Well,
building.
what he's saying,
Yeah.
down towards the south end of the building
Down
on the
towards
side.
the south.
Now, the only difference with this one is, this is an IB unit,
Yeah.
so it's closer to the ground.
Yeah.
The S units are higher up. Does that make a big difference? I don't know, 10, 15 feet difference? I don't know. I'm not a board, I don't get a vote.
Yeah,
I've thought more about this. And it doesn't seem to me to be a big deal to let them do it.
I mean, if the consensus is, I can go along with that. I don't have a problem with that. So,
Yeah, you and I, we walked over
Yeah.
there, we looked at it, we
Yeah.
went underneath.
yeah,
It is around the side of the building. It's not facing
Right.
the golf course.
right.
So, yeah.
But I'm kind of like Rick. You don't think we'll have people just slapping those things up everywhere? We allow this or
Well,
not?
the only place you could do it is
Is-
on an IB unit that's on the end of a building.
Yeah, and I was going through my mind. The only other one that I can think of right offhand is Jerry's.
Jerry Q2's?
Yeah.
And my IB unit, it's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
552, I couldn't have done it
Yeah,
because
right.
that one was sandwiched.
Yeah.
And so there's no way you could have done it.
So, going on down that building, I don't know for sure, but there could be one on the end of that building.
Well, how many buildings are there in High Point?
But the next building, there
Seven?
is not. And
9.
Something like that.
So there's 9, there has to be, if you say ASIB, 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 you can't have an IB and an IB on both ends of the building.
Right.
It's only
Yeah.
gonna be at one end. So there's 9 potential places where this could happen.
well, one of them, Bob and Barbara both have the PSs on the end. So that takes it
So
down to
there's
7.
another, so it takes it down to 7. And if
Jack,
you go out and
Jack
look,
had taken his in, so that takes away one more there. And also the chef's unit.
and how many of those had, and how many of those took the option to put the forced air systems in when that was offered? So there might
Yeah,
be,
as far as I.
so what is it?
In,
The likelihood there's 3 or
there-
4, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And, like I said, Jerry's is one of them. The only other one that there would have been, Norman Case on the end.
All the way up the end on the
And
south
I
side.
think,
Yeah.
and it has central.
Yeah.
In it, so it's the only one potentially in High Point. But
Can I say something, Rick?
sure,
Would you might need to consider though is what other different requests, not just P-tax, will come down the road later on, and they say, look, you let somebody put this P-tac in the wall, why can't I put this fireplace exhaust through the wall instead of through the ceiling? Because that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
Gary,
We've already got
on that note, I had somebody a year or so ago that had a B unit that it got really hot upstairs. Apparently they get hot when that's upper, and they asked if they could put a PTAC up there on a B unit. And I told them I didn't think so. They never went forward with it. But is that kind of what you're talking about, Gary?
no, I know that there's gonna be a request soon for somebody who wants to put in a fireplace and he wants to vent it through the wall rather than up through the roof. And I don't know, there are probably gonna be other requests for people to do something else.
We've
through the walls.
already got water heaters that are vented through the wall.
Can anybody review for us what our documents might say, and in particular, rules and, not rules and regulations, but policies and procedures that might apply to this situation?
I don't know of anything that addresses that.
Yeah, I
This is
don't-
it. This is the process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the process for that.
Oh, well,
I guess at this point, then we'll,
somebody needs to make a motion. If that's the consensus of the board. Or is there a consensus of the board?
You won't know that till you get a
I'm okay
vote.
with whatever y'all decide
Yeah.
on it. If you're good with it, I'm good.
I'm just curious, I mean, are we sure that that physically fits underneath that window?
I would say that's the contractor's
Yeah.
problem.
And,
Yeah.
and it looked to me like it looked to me like it
Yeah.
probably would.
yeah,
I don't know what's inside that wall. The problem you might run into is, are there any utilities running through that wall space?
Yeah.
You don't-
Contractor stuff. He's probably got the inside of that wall open.
Probably does.
I'm just thinking the size of that window, I mean, I'm thinking about what our unit 805 looks like. We've got a P-tac in there in the window above it. I'm not sure that configuration would fit in 805. P-tac is too big to fit underneath that window. Is my guess. I don't know, Tim, can you speak to that?
Well, I've got to depend on Greg Petit that he took a measurement and said, yes, we can put a P-tac here before he made the submittal. I think that's a fair assumption.
Plus, I'm pretty sure that window is not original. That's a,
yeah.
It's not.
That's not a window.
Oh, that window
No,
has a
no.
history.
oh, really?
Yeah, that window's got a history.
Bigger than the original. That was my point.
You know. And in this case, for, when owners ask to alter the appearance of something or add, we always make sure it's clear, and I think they still have to sign something that, so this becomes their problem, if
Yeah.
there's a problem,
And all
Yeah.
subsequent owners.
and all subsequent owners, so.
Can't believe I was-
No, I guess the only thing that I was thinking is that if one more conversation, kind of helps clarification from our perspective and theirs, at least we've gone kind of the extra effort, so to speak. And then with respect to, and I'm also very concerned with setting precedent, but I think we're going to probably have to start looking at things on more of a case-by-case basis. And I understand there's a danger in that, but with more and more people being and having this as their permanent residence or long-term second home type stuff, it's something to consider. I'd rather exhaust conversation with owners so that they're completely clear. And if that's already been done, that's cool. I'm just trying to make sure we do maybe above and beyond a little bit.
And I don't know if it matters or not, but these people own 596 and 97.
Yeah.
And then they bought 98. They're doing a full remodel all the way around.
There,
It may be, and I'm certainly not going to speak for them, but it may be that they're putting $50,000, $75,000 into a remodel. If they're looking at 3,500 for a PTAC versus 5,500 for forced hot air, it may not make a difference to them. I don't know, but it may not. I don't.
But that's a good point, Gary, because the more we know about it, at least we can say, look, we tried to figure out every way possible to help you out here.
they are remodeling. And I have heard they are doing it to sell it. They are not incorporating it into their ANS. It is fully a separate unit.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, yeah.
So
they're looking to flip it.
they're looking to flip it. It's not for their personal use.
Well, that does make a bit of a difference.
So now the money does come into play.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If this is a purely economic,
It appears to be a purely economic situation. And I'll go ahead and tell you, when I went to 822 to look at that window, that couple had told me they had been in conversations with this couple and they were interested in buying this unit. So that's how I knew. And then I did talk to Greg yesterday, Greg Petit, and he said all he's doing is remodeling it. It is not being incorporated into their ANS.
So here's another thought then. If they're gonna sell it, don't do anything.
Yeah.
When it comes under when the inspection happens and it says this doesn't have any air conditioning, they can decide with sell price and so on and so forth, how to figure that out. I had that problem. I had on a much lesser scale. I had heating panels in 552 that didn't work. And I worked it out with the new buyer and we got it figured out. They could do the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
a lot of different factors here.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely could be a negotiating point between the sellers and buyers. Well, I guess.
Somebody can make a motion.
Yeah, I was deciding on the motion.
I don't know if I have any place to interject in this meeting. I'm Jessica Allen. We just bought a unit in the lodge and our unit doesn't have AC. And we just bought a little portable unit and it seems to be working well. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but there are other options besides just that,
Yeah,
cutting a hole in the wall.
yeah.
Every unit in the lodge has.
Yeah.
Well, we've certainly discussed this thoroughly.
Well, the owners have made a request.
Yeah,
So there needs to be a response.
Yeah. yeah.
So if the board is not,
There,
enthusiastic with this. It
yeah, there's not a consensus one way or the other.
seems like there's a little,
Yeah.
but somebody's gonna
Okay.
need to make a motion.
I will make a motion that we deny the request for a P-TAC unit on the side of the building for unit 598. Okay, I was waiting.
Is there-
Right,
is
Okay,
there-
is there a second?
Second.
That was
Second.
wrong.
Ron seconds?
Uh-huh. All in favor? Aye.
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 That's
Hey,
four.
just a quick question, just because
Yeah.
I'm curious, and that is, so if we deny this, but they want to ask question, can they bring it back to us?
Yes,
Okay.
When you take it back to them, you should tell them that it was denied and the suggestion was made that you put in the four-stair system.
Yeah.
Then let them go and get quotes, and then when they come back and say, well, you want us to pay $7,000 when we only pay $2,500, I want to ask you this again.
yeah.
I don't have a count. I know 2 yes votes. Ron was a yes vote.
You might want to do a roll call.
Okay. Greg, what was your vote?
I voted with the board to deny.
6-0.
There's no-
Kathy's not here.
Okay, there was no negative vote.
No negative vote.
No, I'm gonna vote against it. This is
Okay.
Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah.
5-1.
Jerry's in this, okay.
Very well.
Okay. Okay, the next one is unit 643, 644. And what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to put one of those mini split units into the bedroom upstairs. Gary's phone. This is a drawing of where they want to put it. It's on the other side of that box there. And they have agreed they would paint to match existing paint. If you go to the other picture. Yeah. There's right there on the others, they're talking about doing it on the other side of that taller box attached to the unit. There's already a concrete pad there. And as you can see from the picture, there's that electrical box and 3 4-stair units already in that area. And they just be asking to put one that would go right up against their side on the right.
To install a home.
It's called a mini split air conditioner.
Is that what those other units are?
No, those other 2 look to be original. The bigger one, Barbara Kynes had installed for her presidential unit. This picture is, I'm standing at the very edge of the parking lot. And that's what you see from the parking lot. So any discussion on that? It would look like a conventional air conditioner. Except,
Difference being if we have something run up the
yes,
wall.
except that it would have something run up the wall.
Is there an air handler underneath the building? Is this?
Well, it's where they have a bedroom where the stairs would come up, like in my unit.
Is this up to the S unit?
No, there's another bedroom there. That's where the stairs would come up. But it's been altered. It's been remodeled and there's a bedroom up there.
It's gonna go upstairs to the upstairs of the A unit.
Upstairs of the A unit.
Yeah.
Okay, up in the loft.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
they have.
so doesn't the A unit already have AC?
No, mine doesn't. All we've got is just, we got the P-TAC in the S unit. And then there's nothing over there.
What about downstairs?
Downstairs there is.
There's air conditioning.
Yeah.
So
It just doesn't circulate.
it doesn't, you don't have any ductwork that goes up there.
Oh,
Okay,
they don't have
right.
a ductwork, that's it.
All right.
So where is the ductwork then for this unit? How does the air get up
Jim was, there's two copper.
There's a line set that goes from this unit up to an air handler and distribute the air from upstairs.
there? Oh,
That's all inside your unit.
okay. So the air handler is inside the unit, but there has to be a connection between the ground unit and
For
the
the
air.
for the refrigerator.
To
handler.
get up to the evaporator upstairs. So
So
the evaporator is actually inside upstairs?
Yes,
There's an air handler upstairs. The evaporator's on the unit in the ground on the.
Well, the
on
condenser's on the ground.
Condenser's on the ground, the refrigerant's pipe upstairs,
Yeah.
Okay,
and then the cool air is blown from the air handler upstairs.
what's the tubing or the whatever that takes the refrigerant up?
It's called a line set. It's copper.
Okay,
can you go back?
and it
one picture?
is it, I mean, it's then attached to the outside of the wall. The wall
Yeah,
has to
Gary's
be,
gonna pull it up.
And they put
It's
a
that,
cover, they put
no,
a
the
cover
other one.
over.
okay.
So that's the little
The other
box that
one?
they're gonna paint.
that,
to
yeah,
match
that
the
one does.
colors.
This is, there's an example of what it looks like.
On the right,
Yeah,
I see.
that's not the electrical part with the
Not
the
box.
vents, but that,
The-
yeah.
So
that
that's
part
the
there.
gutter.
That's the condenser unit there?
And then the two tubes are contained inside that
So
sheathing.
the evaporator coil and the air handler are inside.
Yes, they're mounted on the inside of the wall.
You don't have those loopers though.
No,
That's.
that's not a part. of
That's
it.
not a part of it.
That was Bill Rickard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I asked you, because I'd asked the owner for a picture of
Just the
what
box,
the unit looked like.
just the box at the bottom and that long skinny box going up.
Yes,
And the copper piping is inside there.
Yep.
And that
Yes.
carries the refrigerant to the evaporator coil.
Is the little gray electric box part of the arrangement as well?
no,
That's that vent.
yeah, that goes up
Whatever
to
that
the
vent
vent.
thing is
Got
for.
it.
This is not, that's not our building, right? I mean,
No,
that's
no. That's just a picture of the outside unit.
What it looks like.
Yeah, what it looks like.
Rick, I missed what the unit number is for this one.
643, 644.
So that's way up there at the south end. of
Last
High-
building,
Southeast end of High Point.
last building on this east side.
Yeah.
On the very end.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
They know that LPEA has announced a 22% rate increase. It sounds to me like it's not very energy efficient.
Atmos Energy is raising their rates too. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
18%.
Well, they did invite you to their barbecue today, though.
Did anybody go?
I
Just wait till gas is $10.
I was in town. I couldn't go.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve this request for the mini split air conditioning unit on the side of unit 643, 644. Is there a second?
This is Jerry. I second it.
All in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye.
I heard 4.
Anybody opposed? Boyd?
I said aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 6-0 on that one. Um, the last one is unit 705 down in Gamble Oak. And when Gary pulls this up, it's two parts. What the owner wants to do here is where the two X's are, the owner wants to take those windows out and put siding where those two windows are. I don't know for a fact, but I believe that those four windows in the middle at some point had been replaced. The two on the sides had not, and they are very inefficient, and the owner would like to take those out. My thoughts on that are the owner could replace those windows with more energy efficient glass. And if the owner wants to put sheetrock up on the inside, he's more than welcome to do that. That's his choice. And cover the windows from the inside. But I am not in favor of changing out those windows.
Point of fact, those windows are common elements.
Tacos. We would pay for it.
Okay. So they're. Okay. And then the second part of the request, the owner wants to take the existing PTAC unit from the front and move it to the side underneath that window up there in the stucco.
That would be a perfect match to what I described on the unit above Bonnie Dudley's, just like that.
Are these two requests totally separate from one another?
They were just, I would guess.
There's no connection.
Probably.
They can be handled.
They can be
separately.
handled.
They can be
Right,
handled
that's all,
separate.
they're not related at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could deny one and approve the other. If you so chose.
So that's interesting. So his S unit DTAC is on the front. Is it?
That's the way they all are in Gamble Oak.
Okay, so
They're
maybe
all,
Pine, see, there are some subtle differences between Pine Cone and Gamble Oak. Pine Cone was built first, Gamble Oak was built second. Maybe that's one of the changes they did.
Especially on studios.
Yeah, I don't know if, I only know for a fact that that the one above Bonnie Dudley's what did you say it is? 839.
839.
839 is on the side. Whether the rest of them are like, well, Boyd says his is on the side too.
Those 805.
So that must have been a subtle change that was done between Pine Cone and Gamble.
So, and what he's wanting to do is leave the grill in front, but move the unit to the side and install it there with a new grill on the
So we
outside.
leave the grill on the outside and frame it and drywall it inside and
Yes, yes, and just move the unit to the side there. So,
And I think the window configuration in the S units is very different, now that I think about it.
oh, it is.
I'm thinking about Boyd's in.
Yeah.
In Gamble Oak, Boyd, where your refrigerator and your new kitchen area, where that's all located, I think that's all windows in
Some.
Gamble Oak.
In
some.
Gamble Oak, they put, instead of just clear story windows, they put
Two banks of windows.
floor
yeah.
level windows in, so you could look, as you're standing on your floor, you could look straight out.
Right,
They did that in Gamble Oak, Pine Cone not.
okay.
There is one unit in Pine Cone that has it that way, and I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Review this for me again.
Okay.
We're moving it. He's asking to move it from
from the front to the side.
the front to the side. Okay, so is it, what is
So
it?
there will be no change to the appearance concerning the PTAC unit. No change to the appearance on the front.
On the front? Yeah. Just an
It
added
would
grill on
be
the
adding
side.
the PTAC to the window on the side. So,
And what is the unit? Is it
It's an S,
it's okay, so it's an S unit connected to a
C,
C.
yeah.
The typical
TP has
CS.
a CS.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Rick, did you say why he wanted to do this?
I've not been told why.
Okay.
I was just given the request.
He told me, I asked him why he wanted to do it. He said he wanted to separate that big room upstairs into 2 rooms. And that P-TAC is in the middle of the east wall. And that's where then there's a space between the center windows. And that's where a wall would butt up against
Okay.
the exterior wall.
Good. Seems like a good reason.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I think, well, I don't know how you want to handle this, but if one of these is something you're recommending and one not, then you have 2 separate motions.
Okay. Okay. I make a motion that the request for the windows on front, there be no changes.
I'll second that.
By Collins
Yes.
to deny the
To
first.
deny
request.
their first request for the change in the windows in front.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Okay. I make a motion that we, based on other units, approve the moving of the P-TAC unit to the side.
I'll second that.
Collins again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay. Since we've agreed to this, do we want to revisit 598? What do you guys think?
I think that if we're allowing, we just allowed the movement of the P-TAC from the front up to the side on that unit, that it would be very appropriate to allow a P-TAC on that 598 unit on the side. That's why I had dissented with the earlier vote.
Yeah.
It seems to me that, as an owner who lives up there, I'm not crazy about the idea. But in terms of fairness, it seems to me that it might ought to be allowed.
Greg, you feel about the same way?
I kind of do. I just think it's obviously a change. It's a bit, and y'all know way more about it than I do, but I kind of think it's not that big of a deal. And if it saves them some money and helps them, I'm really kind of deferring to you that are there, took pictures and saw it. I personally, I'd like to have spoken to the owner, but as Jerry said, in order of fairness there, that kind of makes it more consistent.
Like I said, other than Jerry's unit, I guess there's 555 where Charlie used to live.
554,
554. Okay.
564 for Charles.
Okay, where Charles used to live, there's that unit and Jerry's would be the only other 2 where it could even be requested up there. And I don't even know if those may have the forced air units. I don't know. So,
And so Rick, on that one, if you look at it on a case by case basis, it's pretty fair and we're pretty insulated on that.
yeah. So do I need to make a motion to rescind our previous vote
No,
or just revote?
no, you withdraw your motion
Okay,
and the seconder has to withdraw his second.
okay.
So you would have to withdraw your motion.
Well,
Ron would have to withdraw his second.
okay. I will withdraw my motion to decline the request on the first vote for unit 598. So Ron, if you want to withdraw your second,
Sure. I withdraw my second at this point in time.
okay, thank you. Okay, so new motion. Okay, I make a motion that we approve the request for the PTAC unit for unit 598.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? 6-0. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting for any published business. And we'll move into executive session. And we'll end this visual meeting and ask all present to please withdraw from the room and
Let me,
Okay.
it's not a big deal, but what we need to do, I make a motion that we go into executive session. Needs a
I will
second.
second.
You guys want to quickly hear the story about the window?
Oh,
Yeah.
You remember Jim and Susie Anderson?
Yeah, it was at the other end of the
That
building.
window was there. They wanted to put a window in on the side of their unit. And in order to get the owner across the way, and what was his name? Begin with a P or something like that.
I don't know, there was a real estate agent who was renting that unit.
Yeah, anyway, they thought, oh, then they can see that, you can see in between the windows. So the solution was Jim Anderson had to buy this big tree.
Great big tree,
That
yeah.
big tree that's between those two buildings is the Jim Anderson tree.
Story about the tree.
And that was not a small tree when it was put in.
I'm
That's
gonna
what I
say
understand, yeah.
6 hours.
Yes,
You're going to.
yes.
So are we gonna close this meeting altogether?
No.
We have to come
Because you
out.
got
We'll
leave it
come
open.
back out to.
So I'm gonna pause the recording, not